My boyfriend once described me, out loud, in front of a room, as the one next to the humpback. The humpback was me. He didn't know that yet. Stay till the end, because the way this story ends isn't with an apology. It's with a question I still can't answer, and I think you're going to have opinions about it too. Okay, Reddit, story time, and fair warning. This one starts sweet and ends with me staring at my ceiling at 2 a.m. questioning 10 years of my own face. So settle in. I'm 24. My boyfriend's 25. We met at a literary convention, which honestly should have been my first clue that I was dating a man who narrates his own life like it's a novel, because apparently in this chapter I'm the plot twist nobody saw coming, and not in a good way. He's an English lit guy working toward becoming a professor, and he is genuinely one of the kindest people I've ever dated. Considerate, communicative, the type who gives even people he dislikes the benefit of the doubt, which honestly should have earned him a medal, except that same generosity apparently ran out the second he didn't know I was in the room. Here's the backstory he didn't know because I never really talk about it. I wasn't always the person standing in front of him. Growing up, I carried a lot of extra weight, enough that it shaped how people treated me, how I saw myself, basically the entire emotional architecture of my childhood. Then in college, sophomore year, something happened. A cruel prank from a group of girls that I won't even get into because reliving it once was enough, and it was the kind of humiliation that rearranges your whole nervous system. So I changed. Everything. Over 2 years I lost 100 pounds, changed my hairstyle, my style, my makeup, basically rebuilt myself from the outside in, because apparently that's what it takes to feel safe walking into a room. Funny thing about reinvention, though, nobody warns you that the old you doesn't actually disappear. She just goes quiet. She waits in old photos and college friends' camera rolls, patient as anything, for the exact wrong moment to reintroduce herself. That moment arrived last week in my own living room, over dinner, delivered by my own oldest friend with the absolute best of intentions. She was staying with me for a wedding, and while I was in the kitchen cleaning up, she and my boyfriend got to talking about college. He loves hearing stories from my past, probably because I don't share many, and she mentioned a dance competition we won sophomore year. Sweet moment, right? She pulled up the old video on her phone to show him. I walked in right as they were watching it, and I watched his face do something I never want to see again. That specific involuntary flinch of disgust people make when they think no one who matters is looking. He pointed at the screen and said, casually, like he was commenting on the weather, "The one next to the humpback?" I was the humpback. My friend looked at me like the floor had opened up. She told him no. She yanked the phone away so fast I think she pulled a muscle. And I just stood there in my own kitchen, watching the exact moment my boyfriend's real, unfiltered, nobody's watching opinion of my old body walked directly into the room and sat down at the dinner table like it lived there. I told him what he'd said. I asked him to leave, and I have never in my life seen a grown man's face collapse that fast. Genuine horror, immediate, endless apologizing. I had no idea. I would never say that about you. I didn't know it was you. Which, sir, that's the entire point. You didn't know it was me. That's not a defense. That's the confession. He showed up the next morning while I was on my run. Flowers in one hand, coffee in the other, looking like a man who'd rehearsed his apology in the mirror all night, which, knowing him, he probably had. Told me I was the most beautiful girl he knew. I said it was fine. It was not fine. I just didn't have the emotional bandwidth to unpack a decade of body image trauma while mid-run, sweating, holding a lukewarm oat milk latte he'd guessed correctly, which somehow made it worse because he knows me so well in every way except, apparently, the way that used to be me. Here's the joke I keep making to cope, because the alternative is crying in the shower again. I spent 2 years and 100 pounds building a version of myself that finally got to exist in peace, and it turns out I just relocated the bullying. From a gym locker room in college to my own boyfriend's honest, unguarded opinion, delivered free of charge, no filter, extra flinch included. Glow up complete. Achievement unlocked. Prize is finding out the love of your life would have clocked you as background scenery 6 years ago. I'm usually thick-skinned about body comments. Genuinely, ask anyone. But something about this one is different, and I couldn't tell you exactly why except that it wasn't said to hurt me. It was said honestly when he thought I wasn't the one being discussed, And there's something uniquely awful about hearing someone's real opinion by accident instead of on purpose. You can forgive cruelty. It's so much harder to forgive the truth. Since then, I flinch when he touches me. I've stopped texting first. And of course he noticed, because he notices everything about me except, apparently, the one thing that used to define my entire life. So he did what any anxious, well-meaning man does when he's panicking. He went to our mutual friends for advice, which is how one of them ended up digging through an old college acquaintance's Instagram, found a photo of pre-transformation me, and passed it around our entire friend group like a group project nobody consented to. Now I've got friends messaging me saying he couldn't have known, and you can't be mad. You knew he was into fit girls. As if I signed some kind of consent form when we started dating that said, "Heads up, I used to look different. Please pre-approve." I thought he was into me, not a body type. Me. Apparently that distinction is more fragile than I realized. I confronted him about looping in our friends without asking me. He got furious when he found out what they'd actually done, then broke down crying, saying he didn't want to lose me and didn't know what else to do. And then, in the middle of all that, he said the one true thing in this entire story. "I know it's not fine, because you don't look at me like you love me anymore. And the worst part? He's right. I don't know how to look at him the same way. Not because he's a bad person, he's not, he's one of the best people I know, but because for one unguarded second, without meaning to, he showed me exactly how the old me would have registered in his eyes if we'd met 6 years earlier. And you can't unknow that. You can't apologize your way out of an honest reflex. So here's my question for you, Reddit, and I genuinely don't have an answer. Is it fair to stay angry at someone for an opinion they didn't know applied to me? Or am I punishing a good man for one honest, terrible, accidental second? Update, because there's always an update. We talked again last night, actually talked, no flowers, no performance, just two people sitting on the floor of my apartment at midnight. He asked me the question I'd been avoiding my whole life, even before him. Would it have mattered to you if I'd said it about a stranger? And the honest answer is no. Strangers get to be cruel about strangers all the time. I've probably done it myself without thinking twice. What broke something in me wasn't the comment, it was realizing that comment used to be about me, and I'll never fully know how many other rooms, how many other people quietly thought the same thing about the person I used to be, before I did the work to become someone they'd choose to compliment instead. That's not really his fault. That's just the math of having lived in a body the world was unkind to. He just happened to be the one who accidentally said the quiet part out loud, in my own kitchen over pasta. I still don't know if I can look at him the exact same way again. But I also know I don't want to lose someone this good over a sentence he didn't know was about me. I just haven't figured out yet how to separate the man I love from the honest, ugly reflex I overheard by accident. So tell me honestly, YTA, NTA, or somewhere painfully in between. Drop your verdict in the comments because I genuinely need outside perspective on this one. And if this story hit different, hit subscribe because this channel runs on stories exactly this messy, every single week. See you in the next one.